What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the FF Ballbusters podcast. Thank you for joining us today on this fine Tuesday. I believe it's May 23rd. We are recording this on the same day that we did the quarterbacks video. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch that. It was a lot of fun. Will and I got into a heated argument about a certain player that I won't name right now. But anyway, let's finish the intro here. My name is Eric. That is my co-host, Will. How you feeling this morning?
Dog, I'm feeling pretty good, man. Like you said, last video was fun. I'm looking forward to this one. Hopefully this one isn't as contentious, but I'm looking to have a lot of fun with this one too.
Bro, hopefully it is. That's what makes this shit fun. I think we're gonna have a good time. I hope you guys have a good time. But let's get into the actual topic of the video. We're talking tier lists for running backs this time for 2023. We've been talking dynasty this whole offseason, so this one's a little bit more redraft focused, but I think it can help for all formats. We're doing this based on half PPR scoring as well, so keep that in mind. But I don't have anything else left to talk about for the intro. You ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. I got it pulled up now, and we're good to go.
Let's do it. Yeah, so we got the S tier, the top of the top, the best of the best. Who do you think belongs in this tier?
Well, since Ezekiel Elliott isn't on this list, I'm gonna have to throw Christian McCaffrey up there.
Wait,
I'm joking. It's a total.
What are you talking? I was so confused.
It was a total joke.
I was like, bro, are you putting Tony Pollard all the way up here? Like, what is this Zeke talk? But okay,
if Zeke was on this list, he wouldn't make it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Duh. Okay. Christian McCaffrey, completely agree. As of right now, I do have him as my RB1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little nervous with the Elijah Mitchell splits that we saw last year. I have some numbers pulled up per Dwayne McFarland. Fantasy points per game without Elijah Mitchell and then with him on the field. 24.9 versus 16.7. The rushing attempt share, 59% versus 34%. And the short down and distance snaps, 68% versus 43%. So significant downtick when Elijah Mitchell was healthy and playing. But we're still talking about the guy that was the RB1 overall from the point where he got traded to the Niners throughout the rest of the season. And he's Christian freaking McCaffrey. So I'm down to put him as the RB1.
Yeah, he's like you said, he's Christian McCaffrey. He's used to being at the top of this list for quite a while now, and I see no reason to move him down.
Absolutely. Who else would you be thrown into this tier?
I think even though last year was a down year, I think Jonathan Taylor still kind of deserves to be up here as well. We're just hoping that, he does bounce back this season. He's got, obviously, Anthony Richardson, exciting new prospect there with the team. The team is just steadily getting better, So you're just hoping that he can come back and just do the same things he was doing before, even when the team was bad. So, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, Shane Steichen, I think, is going to be a huge upgrade for this offense as a whole. He's proven that, the running game for both quarterbacks and running backs has been electric, and they've been high-end fantasy producers for him no matter where he's been. I think people kind of argue back and forth about Anthony Richardson and whether that's a positive for Jonathan Taylor or not. I do acknowledge that it might, put a slight cap on maybe his ceiling, just because Richardson is going to take a lot of rushing attempts and probably goal line work. But it's going to make JT much more efficient. When you have a rushing quarterback that's a threat like that, the play action game, the read option game, stuff like that, it's going to open the whole offense up.
Absolutely.
So I like that as well. Who else you got up here?
Being honest with you, I know he hasn't done anything yet, but I kind of want to throw Bijan into this tier too.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm so with it. He belongs. Let me throw him up there. Bijan in the top tier. We're talking about the best running back prospect since Saquon.
Mm-hmm.
He got drafted 8th overall. He goes to the run heaviest team in football last year. And he brings the added bonus of being an absolutely dynamic receiving threat. Like, how could he not be tier 1?
Yeah, he's got to be up there. Even though he hasn't done anything in the league yet, this guy's going to do some stuff.
He's absolutely going to do some nasty things. Do you have anybody else in this tier? Because there is one name left that I'm thinking about.
See, I'm over here, and I'm looking at Saquon, and I don't know if he should be in this tier. What's the other name you're looking at? Is it Saquon?
I'm thinking Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler. Okay. I am kind of cool with that.
And I actually have him as my RB2 still. We did just get news this morning that he will be rejoining the Chargers. He's not going to go to a different situation, and I think that's what was best for him fantasy-wise. They got the new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. They bring in more weapons. Everybody gets back healthy, hopefully, especially the offensive line. So rushing efficiency should go up. And I think he's going to continue to get a ton of receiving work like he has. And he was in points per game, I believe. He was the RB1 last year.
Yeah.
So I think he absolutely belongs on this tier.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that's where the break should probably be at for this tier.
I agree. I think Saquon is close. He has an argument, but I do have him separated by a little bit. So with a break in tiers, I do want to take just a quick break here and talk about one of our sponsors in Dynasty Owner. If you're interested in a really cool and unique Dynasty experience where they use real-life NFL salaries in their Dynasty games, head over to the link down in the description below, dynastyowner.com, and use our promo code BALLBUSTERS for 20% off when you sign up. Will and I are both on the site. It's a really good time. There's ways to make money if you join paid leagues through just being good at Dynasty and coming in the top end of your league, but there's also a marketplace where you can sell teams, all this cool stuff. Go check it out in the description below and use our promo code BALLBUSTERS for 20% off. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Shout out to Dynasty Owner.
For sure. All right, let's get into the A tier. We talked about Saquon Barkley. Let's throw him up there. No arguments.
Yep. Saquon, he's just highly featured in this offense. Like, he is the featured piece in this offense. There's nobody that's more important than him. And he just had a really rough patch of the season towards the end of it. He started off extremely hot. Then, teams, well, not even teams. He started going up against some of the best run defenses in the league to end the season. Yeah. And the Giants' offensive line just really could not hold up to that. So he tailed off a little bit. We're hoping that they can get better going into this season against teams like that. But Saquon is a talent himself, absolutely.
Yeah, and we're talking about year 2 under Brian Daboll. I expect this offense to take another slight jump up, with that added time and experience with the same offense. So I'm hoping that the whole thing is more efficient. And hopefully this goes for Saquon. Who else do you want to throw in here?
I'm looking at Mr. Henry over here, the king.
Okay.
The freak, the manimal.
I dig it.
The Yeti.
We'll talk about the individual rankings probably once we get to the end of the tier. I do have him a little bit further towards the back, but I'm absolutely putting him in the A tier, and you can't doubt him after what he's continued to do the past 4 seasons.
Absolutely.
So I like that.
What do you feel about Josh Jacobs being in this tier, especially after last season?
He's absolutely in here for me, no question. Yeah, the situation changes a little bit. They bring in a new quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, replacing Derek Carr. But honestly, I don't expect much to change in terms of what we are expecting from Josh Jacobs. Maybe from the team as a whole. Even that, these guys are both mediocre game manager quarterbacks.
See, also, the Raiders are kind of ass, bro. So it's
they're gonna have to lean on him once again. So I like that. Who else are we talking?
This is where stuff starts to get tough because we got some people with some unsure situations that I don't really want to touch, like Dalvin. I don't really want to touch him too much during this whole thing. We don't know what he's going to be doing this year, where he's going to be at.
It sounds pretty likely, like more likely than not, that he's not going to be rejoining. So, yeah.
So we don't know where he's going to be at. So going with the people with more sure situations, I'm looking at Breece Hall for this tier as well. With the Jets, I just don't think there's too much competition for him in terms of other running backs there. Like Izzy Abanikanda obviously got drafted there, so there is some competition there. They just cut Ty Johnson, pretty controversial cut there. Not really here to talk about it, but he's not there with the team anymore. And they have Michael Carter, who gets involved, but once Breece Hall really got going, he was sort of phased out a lot in terms of like their running game and even the passing game as well. Breece Hall started to take a lot of those snaps too. So I like Breece Hall. I think he's going to get a lot of volume there. I think at least it's there for him to take. He's coming off an ACL, so we don't know how effective he's going to be, but I think he's going to have the volume.
That's the only thing that gives me pause. And I like that you bring him up because I think we're probably both higher on him than consensus. I think we're both probably a little bit more optimistic about his injury than most people are. I think a lot of people are really concerned. when I did this myself, because I went through and tried to figure out what tiers I would do if it was just me individually, I did have him in the next one down, and it was solely because of the uncertainty with his injury. We're not 100% sure what his status is going to be for week 1. I do think he'll be ready to go, but it's not a guarantee. You mentioned they drafted Izzy Abanikanda. I don't think that once Breece is fully healthy that he's any sort of competition to his total workload or anything like that. But if they're looking to ease him in, like, that pick would make sense if they're trying to give Breece some time where he's not the full bell cow, in the early portion of the season, which could hurt his overall numbers. So that is why I put him a tier down. But I do, like, I think I could make the argument for him to be in the A tier as well. What do you think now that we've kind of fleshed out the entire thing with him?
I think if that is the case, I think top end of the B tier should probably be fair for Breece Hall there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we can throw him in there. I do still have some names left in A tier. You want me to list them off here?
Yeah, go for it. Let's see.
I got Tony Pollard up here.
Okay.
Tony Pollard from week 8 to week 16, once he started to be kind of the more featured guy, and then before he broke his leg in week 17 or week 18, whatever it was. He was averaging 20.2 points per game. Like, ludicrous numbers, like well above what the RB1 was doing for the full season. The Cowboys finally realized Pollard was the go-to guy. Zeke isn't under contract anymore, and currently isn't rumored to return. Even if he was, I would expect his workload to be significantly diminished. His only competition currently on the team is Malik Davis, Deuce Vaughn, and Ronald Jones. Not the most inspiring list of names. I don't think Pollard is going to get the bell cow usage that some people might be projecting for him. He's not that guy. And even with the amount of vacated carries, like, he's not going to take a huge percentage of those. But I wouldn't be shocked if the workload that he was getting during that stretch from week 8 to week 16 is what we can expect for this whole season.
No, I could definitely see that as well. Like you said, he was highly effective. And I know a lot of people were worried about not a lot of people were worried. When it initially happened, people were worried about the injury, but just find out it's a broken leg and it's just a bone that has to heal. Definitely not concerning. He'll be back, and he'll be just as explosive as before.
Yeah. So do you agree with
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And then there's one more guy that I have in this list. It's Nick Chubb.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
goes out there and performs every single year.
Every single year. Like, just from a pure runner standpoint, from the NFL perspective, he's probably the best in the game. He's so smooth. And fantasy-wise, prior to Deshaun Watson's return in Week 13, Chubb was averaging 18.1 points per game, which was right there. I think would have put him in the top 3 range as far as points per game. With a full offseason with the team, again, like I've mentioned in the quarterbacks video, I expect Watson to actually help the team and not hurt the team like he did last year. Kareem Hunt is also going to be gone. He got 167 touches last year. So, yeah, I just expect another really solid season from Nick Chubb.
Yeah, absolutely agree there.
All right, so let me put these guys up here on my screen, and let's talk about individual rankings. Again, I don't think that that's the most important part of this video. I think the tier breaks are what we're most focused on. But how would you rank these guys in the A tier?
In the A tier, it would probably be Saquon for me, then Josh Jacobs, then Nick Chubb, then Tony Pollard, then King Henry. But I might swap Tony Pollard and Nick Chubb. Those two are kind of iffy for me in their spots.
I'm exactly in agreement. I have Tony Pollard as the RB7, Nick Chubb as the RB8 currently, but they're close to interchangeable for me as well. I think Tony Pollard, just with the receiving upside, is enough for me to put him slightly ahead.
No, that's facts. Yeah, he does have the edge there.
Yeah, so I am completely in agreement with you there. So that'll probably be the end of the A tier. Want to jump into a quick ad read?
Hell yeah. Make sure you guys check out our partners, the Fantasy League Winners. You can check out their website at fantasyleaguewinners.com. They have a lot of great article writers over there. We make some videos for them too, so you can go over there and check those out when you run out of videos over here on this channel to watch, know what I'm saying? But also check those out too, because there's some great stuff over there on that website. And as a part of that partnership as well, we are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. So if you use our promo code FFLW, and you're a first-time user, they will match a deposit up to $100. So if you deposit $100, you're a first-time user, they will give you an additional $100 on top of that, making that $200 you can go out there and gamble responsibly with. So again, that's promo code FFLW, or check out the links down in the description below, and check out the Fantasy Football League winners as well. There's some great people over there, for real.
Yeah, big shout out to both of them. Did I ever even acknowledge the fact that I'm wearing sunglasses?
Nah, bro, you're just cool, bro. It's fine.
See, that's definitely not how this goes. Like, people are just like, this asshole. Sunglasses died to record a video. I acknowledged it in the quarterback video, and, industry secret, we're actually recording these back to back, even though they're being released at a later date.
No, I wear this shirt every day. Don't listen to him.
I got a weird eye infection going on, so I'm doing this for you guys because my eye is big, swollen. It'd be distracting. Y'all don't need to see that. So yeah, I'm rocking the shades. That's the explanation, in case y'all were wondering. Hopefully they didn't just click off right away when they were like, "Who the fuck is this guy doing?"
Nah, I hope I think the shades are gonna make more people stay than leave. Be honest with you, bro.
We'll see.
Because I'd look at the video and be like, I want to know what this guy's got to say.
I don't know if I would. I'd be like, this guy sucks. All right, on to the B tier. We do have Breece Hall already plugged in. We already have 10 running backs down. This is a top 12 video, but obviously we have a lot more. We'll touch on these guys as honorable mentions and stuff, but let's round out the top 12. Who else would you be putting in the B tier?
I'm looking at Ramondre Stevenson for sure. Absolutely. For this tier.
Yep, 100%. I'll throw him up there. I think there's probably an argument to be made the same way that we said with Breece Hall for him to be in the tier above.
Mm-hmm.
I do love Ramondre. I think he's a phenomenal player. But when I went back and looked at the production from last year, he didn't actually produce for fantasy as well as I thought, and I think as well as kind of the fantasy community in general seems to be thinking of him. He finished as the RB14 in points per game, and he only had 2 games north of 20 points on the season. He was really, really consistent, and I think he vastly outperformed his ADP from the start of the season. So I think that's probably why people were really hyped on him, and I think deservedly so. But he was rarely winning people weeks. So I think it's fair that he's a tier down here.
Yeah, because I feel like last year, like you said, his floor was pretty high. Because like he came out and consistently put out like 15 points for you every week, and everyone was just like, "Oh man, that's amazing that we have a player that's doing that." Because so many other people fluctuate. But
yeah,
also that's coming off of like pretty wild numbers for a running back as well, like being the team's leading rusher and leading receiver.
88 receptions.
It's kind of nuts.
Like he's got that in his bag. Clearly, he showed us that. But is he gonna hit that number again? Like that's a pretty absurd.
Is Bill Belichick gonna let him hit that number again?
Yeah, like I hate doing the whole narrative about like Patriots running backs and the committee thing, because Ramondre is clearly
the best,
better than the rest, and they showed that they could lean on him last year. Also, Bill O'Brien comes in as the offensive coordinator, so I do expect the offense to be better. I expect them to be more efficient, but like it is a narrative. It is narrative driven, but it's true year over year. The Patriots don't use rookie running backs in their rookie year, but then they do get usage in the following years. So we're talking about Pierre Strong. We're talking about Kevin Harris. Pierre Strong did flash at the end of the season for like a game. I think they could be mixed in a little bit more. I'm really like, I hear myself. Like Ramondre Stevenson is miles better than those guys. I'm not saying that they're going to be like huge competition, but maybe a slight volume reduction. The Twitter streets are trying to hype up Ty Montgomery again as like the receiving back. Again, Ramondre is the guy, but I think there's a chance that his numbers come down a little bit from the craziness that they were last year.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So clearly solidified in this tier, near the top end, similar place as Breece Hall.
Yep.
I think this is where it gets interesting. And honestly, now that I think about it, this could be a tier break in and of itself. I had it separated a little bit differently when I did this for myself earlier yesterday. But what do you think? Do you think anybody else belongs here with Breece and Ramondre, or are they separated themselves from the rest of this pack?
So in terms of everybody I'm looking at down here, I'm taking Brees or Ramondre before really any of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think this is a tier break right here because a lot of these guys
Okay.
are at least are pretty similar to me. Like I would look at Najee Harris and Aaron Jones and Damian Pierce as all pretty similar grouped players for me. To be honest.
Yeah. No, I think I agree with you. Okay, we'll do a tier break there. I like that. So we'll move on to the C tier. Anybody speaking to you to be at the top of this tier? Because I do have a name in mind, but I'm curious what you think.
To be at the top of this tier. Actually, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. That's why, because I mean, I feel like a lot of these guys are valued pretty similarly to me. I'm looking at Najee, but I don't really feel like he should be at the top of this. I'm looking at Aaron Jones. He's probably got the strongest case, but I'm also looking at like Jahmyr Gibbs as well, just because of the draft capital and the landing spot.
Yeah.
His ceiling's it could be through the roof, especially over there with the Detroit Lions. And I don't know. What are you thinking? What are you looking at?
Jahmyr Gibbs is definitely worth a shout. That's not the guy that I had in mind. I think this guy has been a little bit disrespected, even by us so far throughout this offseason, because there were narratives around him that didn't end up happening. Joe Mixon.
Oh.
We thought he was going to get cut. We thought he was going to get traded. We didn't think he was going to be back with the Bengals, but he is. He's back with the Bengals in an extremely high-powered offense. Samaje Perine is gone. They did draft Chase Brown, but that's like a 1-for-1 to me. And Joe Mixon was the RB8 in points per game last year. Like, what about his situation got worse?
Yeah, I mean, nothing. He's still with an elite team. He's still got the same spot he's got, and Samaje Perine's gone. So, like you said, Chase Brown coming in, he could literally just fill in that spot, and that's just a shout right there. So, yeah, Joe Mixon, not the most efficient of all, but volume is absolutely there, and he's with an elite team. So, yeah, nothing got worse, nothing changed. So, I like that. I like that.
Okay. Yes, we're in agreement there. Yeah, the passing game usage was there as well. 60 receptions, 441 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Which I'd like to say,
category.
I called before the season started.
You did.
Like, he's gonna get used more. Let's go.
He did. He finally did. Yeah, Will was on it. But yeah, I like him at the top of the C tier, and then I think Jahmyr Gibbs is probably right behind him.
Yeah.
When I was trying to put together my top 12, because how many are we at? 4, 9. 11. So Joe Mixon would be the 12th guy. And I'm happy with that. I think that's a good ranking. But I was debating whether or not to throw Jahmyr Gibbs in there as the 12th guy when I was thinking about it myself. So I would put him in the same tier at least as Mixon.
Yeah, I'm going to throw him up there just as, like, I guess sort of an honorable mention / 12A, 12B for Mixon. It's weird to say, but yeah, I think he's got the ceiling. We obviously, like I said before, we haven't seen him do anything in the NFL yet, so that still stands to be seen. But based off metrics, based off what we've seen in the past, and based off just draft capital, I think he's got everything he needs.
Absolutely, yeah. Walks into what's going to be such an exciting offense to watch with the Detroit Lions. Oh my goodness, the check down king, Jared Goff, like it's going to be electric for all of these weapons, but especially Jahmyr Gibbs.
Absolutely.
All of these guys are close, but do you think that any of them also belong in C tier, or do we have another tier break here?
The only other person I'm looking at here that could really go in C tier possibly, I feel like, and it might be sort of a hot take, but I think J.K. Dobbins, just based off of volume. You know what I mean? I feel like he's the guy there. Gus Edwards hasn't really done too much recently.
See, I agree with the take overall, but I don't know that I would base it on volume. I think the team has been very vocal about their how much they like Gus Edwards, how much that he's just as much the 1B to J.K. Dobbins is 1A. Okay. And that's what they've shown us so far throughout their careers, is that J.K. Dobbins has never been solely the guy. I don't think he's ever going to be a bell cow guy. He's going to continue to be incredibly efficient, the same way that we talked about with Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. When you have Lamar Jackson back there with you, like, the lanes are going to be open. And we've seen that from J.K. Dobbins so far throughout his career. Super high efficiency numbers. I expect that to continue. The offense gets a big bump up in general, just with the talent, the new offensive coordinator. I expect it to improve. So I could see him potentially being in this tier as well. I just don't know that it's going to be volume based.
That's true. That's fair enough.
Okay. Um, but yeah, if we think that that's the end of the tier, we do have one last sponsor to talk about, and that is Do Numbers. Really cool merch and apparel brand that we're sponsored with, run by our friend Zay. We rock a lot of their apparel in our videos. I'm sure if you've watched any of our previous ones, you would have seen us in them. But really cool t-shirts, hoodies, and I believe hats are now up on the site as well. So if you're interested in any of that, go check the link down in the description below. It's at snacks.online, and use our promo code FFBallbusters15 for 15% off at checkout. So go get some cool merch, some cool hoodies, stuff like that. Support us and support our friend. Get 15% off using our promo code FFBallbusters15.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. And then, yeah, let's round this thing out. We don't need to talk about these guys like we mentioned already. We're through the top 12. That was the point of this video. Do you see any big difference in the rest of the names that are left in the list?
Only difference I see between the rest of the names that are left in the list are Najee Harris. I feel like has just a lot of volume over there with the Steelers.
Yeah.
Towards the end of last season, he did pick it up quite a bit.
He did.
So if he's able to even roll into this season with that kind of, playing the way he is, obviously last season too, there was that weird foot injury that nobody really gave us any clarity on. But rolling into this season healthy, if he's anywhere near what he was at the end of last season, there's even a case that he could be in C. But just based on sort of what we saw throughout all of last year, Jaylen Warren is there as well, so it's not like he doesn't really have no competition whatsoever. But I do like Najee Harris at least at the top of the pack for this one.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Dameon Pierce is another guy that speaks to me a little bit. He started the season off really hot, and then again, similar to, or I guess the opposite of Najee Harris, he kind of tailed off a little bit at the end of the season. He started dealing with some nagging injuries. I expect their team to not be good, but definitely much improved from what we saw last year. They got CJ Stroud at quarterback now. They got the new regime, new coaching staff. And I think even with Devin Singletary there, he's still going to get a pretty sizable workload. So I like him a lot, but probably in that D tier as well.
Next up, I would probably go. Ooh, that's tough. Probably ETN, you think?
I think so. I think Tank Bigsby is going to take a lot of work.
I do too. I think he's going to take a lot of goal line work too, because Travis Etienne was not good on the goal line last year.
And like Tank Bigsby is like sneaky decent in the passing game too. And Travis Etienne, like as much production as he had in the passing game. And I'm not a film guy, so I hate to like comment on that and lean on it super heavily. But like he didn't look comfortable as a receiver. There were a lot of drops. I don't know. Maybe they were just focus drops. Maybe he'll get that sorted out, or maybe he's just not an receiver. I know, like, as a freshman and sophomore in college, he talked about how he was scared to catch the football. Like, that was a literal quote from Travis Etienne earlier in his career. That obviously changed with production at Clemson before he got to the NFL. But I don't know. It scares me a little bit. He's still incredibly electric. He's going to be touches that he gets. He's going to be a big play monster. But yeah, volume is going to be limited. And I think Tank is a bigger threat than I think people are talking about right now.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And the only reason he's at the top of this pack for me is just, or at least the top of these next two players, I guess we're going with, is just because they're all in very similar situations. Like, it's really weird to really guess who's going to be who. Like, I guess just talking about it, Aaron Jones probably is next for me. I don't know. Like, I think so. Want Kenneth Walker? Because I know for a fact Kenneth Walker is only getting 50% if he's getting that. You know what I mean? Like, we know Kenneth Walker, for the most part, is probably not going to get the most volume.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident in saying that.
I think it's going to be a pretty even split with him and Charbonnet. And I think Charbonnet is... we'll see how Pete Carroll handles it. Obviously, that's going to be a wild card, but... if we're talking about just kind of like the way the NFL coaches approach things, whether it's the best approach or not, Kenneth Walker's 211 pounds. Charbonnet is 225 pounds. Who's the goal line back?
Charbonnet.
Yeah. Like, and again, that shouldn't be the way that it is. Just because you weigh more doesn't mean that you're the better goal line back. Like, I think with the Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon debate, Aaron Jones is one of the best goal line backs of all time. in terms of his success rate at the goal line.
Yeah, efficiency on the goal line.
He's so good at that. But just because A.J. Dillon is big, they give him a lot of goal line work. And so I think that could be the same with Charbonnet. I think Charbonnet is a better receiver. He's going to get the valuable touches in this offense, even if it's slightly less than half of the total touches. Kenneth Walker is going to be severely limited by that.
Yeah, I agree. So it's just, yeah, I guess Kenneth Walker at the end of this tier, and then Aaron Jones slightly in front.
Yeah, and then Dalvin Cook is the biggest wild card of this whole thing because we don't know where he can go.
I'm going to throw Dalvin Cook C tier just because at the very least he's going to be good, you know? We just don't know where he's going to be playing at.
All right. I could see it for sure. I think if we're talking for Dalvin Cook owners in Dynasty or people that are a fan of him, I think the best landing spot for him would be Miami.
I would hate that.
Because of Devin Achane?
Yeah, absolutely.
That would really suck for Devin Achane.
But yeah, it is the best landing spot for Dalvin. It makes the most sense, and Mike McDaniel would love that. He would absolutely love that.
Yeah. Pre-draft, there was some talk about that trade happening, and then, that came and went. The draft happened. They took Achane. So I don't really expect that to happen, but, worth acknowledging. There were some rumors about it. I haven't heard any other rumors about his other potential landing spots. He's coming off of another shoulder surgery, so we'll see how durable he is. I don't know. I'm worried about him right now. And obviously there's a ton of offseason left to play out. Things are going to change for all of these guys, but I think Dalvin is probably the most volatile of this group.
Did Dalvin get surgery on his shoulder? Did that happen?
I think he did. Am I tripping?
I thought the issue always was that he refused to get surgery on his shoulder, and that's why it keeps popping out the way it does.
So you're not wrong. That is part of what the issue has been throughout the years or whatever. But even I think he's gotten shoulder surgery at least twice.
Oh yeah, I see it here. Shoulder surgery on the torn labrum.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's one of those things where the more times it gets dislocated, the more surgeries it has, the higher likelihood it continues to have being re-injured. So it's hard for me to project him for, a full slate of games because I can't remember the last time he's done that.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this article now. It says Cook played the last 3 seasons while protecting the injured shoulder. He's been just injured for the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's probably, I'd cut him too, man. I'd get rid of him too. That's crazy. But I
think that'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna round it out.
All right. So thank you for sticking with us. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know that we live in the top 12, but it's a little bonus for y'all. Hopefully you guys took something away from this for some early redraft notes and maybe some dynasty just thoughts for the future. We would appreciate it very much if you checked out the links in the description for all of our partners, our sponsorships. That would be awesome if you guys could go use those. Also, join the Discord. That is also linked down in the description below. We have a fantastic group of guys that are already in there right now. Super active. They've been blowing up as of late. We've been enjoying a lot of conversations with them, asking us questions, talking amongst themselves, stuff like that. Really smart and knowledgeable guys. So add to the community, join in. It would be great if you could join us over there. But yeah, Will, you want to round us out here?
Yeah, just make sure you guys do all that great YouTube stuff. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when we drop our newest videos. The next one up should be either wide receivers or tight ends. So look forward to that next week. Eric may or may not be wearing shades. Who knows? We'll see.
Find out.
Yeah, have that notification bell and you'll know right away. Then make sure you guys hit that like button. It's free, easiest way to get our stuff out there, and comment. Make sure you guys let us know how you feel about our tier list. If we got anything wrong, where you'd move people around, anything like that, let us know in the comments down below. And yeah, that's all I really got. So if you made it this far into the video, as always, we love you. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.